Hey everyone, thanks for joining Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and today I'll be doing an unboxing for the newest stuff for Cloud Spire. I got my brand new expansions in from the Kickstarter, as well as my upgrade pack, so we're going to unbox that today and take a look at it. And I also want to hear in the comments below what you would like to see around these. If you want me to do a deeper dive into each one of these, because I have to be honest, it has been a while since I've had a chance to play Cloud Spire, so going into these expansions as I unbox them, I'm not going to remember all the details of them, so doing a deep dive in this video isn't going to be very beneficial, but let me know if that's something that you'd like to see in the comments down below. I am also still planning on doing a Cloud Spire teaching video. Funny story behind that one, I actually filmed the entire video and was working on putting it together at the time, and it just was not coming together very well, and I had my older equipment that I wasn't very happy with, and there was a lot of top-down shots that were really important to have very high detail on, so I ended up scrapping the project, and I am still looking at potentially doing that one. So if you're still interested in seeing something like that, let me know, especially now that there's an updated rulebook. I'm really excited to see how that does, because man, that first game's rulebook was rough, and there was a lot of questions in that one, and I know they did a very extensive FAQ online. I wasn't a huge fan of the way they put that together. I mean, they covered everything really well, but I didn't like the way that they had it laid out. I would have been much happier just seeing like a full document covering some of those details versus having to click on each question and all that kind of stuff. And it has been a while since I've gone there, so I don't know if that has changed as well. I'll have to check that out depending upon what you guys have to say about that. So as always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider that like button, subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can help support channels like mine so we can continue to grow and produce this content. If you want to stay updated on all my videos, so considering that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new stuff around this game or any other game that I cover. And there's a lot of games coming in right now, so you'll be seeing a number of these videos as well as some other videos as I try to hit on some of these new titles coming out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and head to the table and we'll see what's in the box. Alright, so first we're going to start with the card pack. So there was a brand new card back that came with this, and this is going to include some of the cards from, I believe, the Kickstarters, like stretch goals and that. So we have a number of new relics and a couple of new events as well. So decent amount of stuff, and I love these cards. They are so cool. Definitely helps keep these staying good longer in this plastic form. Really would be interested to see other companies pick up some of this stuff, especially some of the other things that Chip Theory Games does. I really like the fact that all their boards are neoprene and all that. I would really be interested to see if that is something that other board games could pick up on, especially other games that have a lot of cardboard boards that you're shuffling and stuff like that. That would be a huge help to keep those games running for long periods of time. All right, so Horizon's Wrath. This is a new faction. So first off, we have a great case with all the new chips in it. There's a new set of dice with this one. For this, we have, looks like just 2 standard D6 dice. Well, this one goes from 0 to 5. So these will be markers on there, of course. All right, and then the chips themselves. So this is a full new faction. So we have the Lifeboat and Shadow Skiff, and I'll have these off to the side as well so that you can see all the details and the stats and that on those. All right, next we have 3 new heroes. Looking pretty cool. Definitely, they got that pirate theme going. Loving that. And their upgraded sides. We have the new hero marker for that. And I'm not sure what this one is. Looks like a bridge or something going across, so it might be a docking plank or something to connect to them with different things. Maybe their base moves around. That'd be pretty sweet. That's what I bet it is. Obviously, with there being a pirate theme, they're probably being able to move around. So then we have Swabbies. So these guys are like your low-level dudes. Next, we have a glider and the powder monkey. And then the buccaneers, gunners, got a couple of gunners, a couple buccaneers, corsairs. We have 2 of those, so 2 of each of those different groups, and then the air clippers. So these are air defense, little air defense ships, and then a gunboat. Very cool. All right. And even their boxes are just premium. I always hate throwing these away. Unfortunately, with all the games that I have to condense down, but these boxes are just such high quality boxes. All right, next we have the scenario book. It's a good size book, so it's going to introduce some new stuff for the game. We have the solo campaign breakdown there and how their stuff works. Wave 4, Wave 5. Okay, so these are the different scenarios. Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6, and then an endless mode. Okay. Next, we have their board itself, which is their ship. So that's the pirate ship. We have our spots for those 2 dice for their counters and that. So very cool. And all the different upgrades, the captain's cabin and the gate port, the holds, cruise quarters, launch bay, and gun deck. Very cool. And then we have the fortress rules. So they have a little card here, if I can get this out, with the rules on it for that. And of course, the new quick reference sheets for all of the different upgrades and all the different things that they can do and all that. So with these, some of these can be upgraded quite a bit more. So the gun deck has 5 upgrades to it. So that'll be what that dice, the die is for on that one. So interesting. And then a breakdown of all the different crew members and all that. All right, so that is what is in that box. Next, we have the Uprising faction. This one I'm really interested in. These guys look really, really interesting and very different from any other faction out there. So first off, again, we have our new chips. And this faction is going to double as also an additional expansion into some of the different areas and guilds and stuff. So we have our new dice for this faction. And then we have all of the new, their faction piece there, and then some new gateways and stuff. And then we have a couple of new characters for this particular faction, as well as one leader. And then other than that, it's all of the market in that. So they're going to rely and change the market quite substantially, adding new items to the markets, as well as adding new characters that they're going to be able to hire. So it's all about the individuals. So this is a faction made up of singles of all these different things. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this particular faction plays. And you can use a lot of these tokens just to add more variety to your games, even when you're not using this faction. So that's a really cool secondary bonus for this particular faction, which makes it even more important if you're looking for more variety in your game. Even if you're not interested in this faction, then you can use it for all those different features. All right, then from there, we have the new board. So this faction's board, we have the Rogue Garrison, the Reconstruction Labs, Headquarters, Covert Ops, and the Thieves' Den for all these different upgrades. Looks really cool. And then finally, we have the book. So again, this one is the scenario book. This will give you some new scenarios to play through and hopefully break down how this faction plays a little bit too. Very cool. Love the art on this. Phew, jeez, look at that guy. Hope he doesn't get punched in the chest. Okay, finally, the sheet again that breaks down all your different upgrades and levels and all that and what they do, as well as your small list of faction people, and then how all the rest of the stuff works, how you set it up with the market and the way gates and all that kind of stuff, and using the units and spires. So again, really interesting faction. I'm really excited to check them out and see how they play. And then you have a new reference sheet for your landmarks and your market talents, breaking down all the different wording and all that on them. So very handy. And then last is the upgrade pack. So I'll just go through this stuff real quick. So with this one, this is going to switch out a lot of the stuff from your core game. So if you were one of the original Kickstarter backers, this is going to upgrade your set to the 1.5 set. So you're simply going to swipe out all of this stuff, and they pretty much gave you all new stuff for most of this. So first off, with the cards, this is, from what I understand, a completely new deck of cards for all the events and relics and all of that stuff. So you simply are going to just take your old deck and get rid of it and then add this deck in, and this is a full deck of all of the exact same cards with all the corrections on it and all that for the events and for the relics. And then there's a ton of new tokens as well for each one of the factions that had incorrect tokens and stuff. So the aviation, or no, these are the one of the water factions. So they have a whole mess of tokens. They probably have the most here besides the green faction. And sorry, I don't remember their names off the top of my head. I know that each one of them had very interesting, unique names, but I do not remember all those. And there's a couple new replacements for the relics, a couple heroes, and then the one anarchist. We have a small amount of new ones for the Gray faction, which was the one that I played the most. And then there's a couple of new ones for the Bird faction. So we have the Jousts and the Elvinkazis. We have those new for those, which I know there's a lot of questions about them, so I'm interested to see what they changed on those. A whole mess of new ones for the Green faction. And then we have our new ones for the different things here. Nice. A couple more for the markets. For those. And a couple for the bug faction. So a couple of changes there as well. All right, so then this gives a breakdown of the upgrade pack, what's included, and then how to add it into your game. You have the new scenario book for the bug faction. If you have them, or if you don't, then you get their scenario book. So this will add new scenarios to them, make any corrections that they needed for that. And then we have, now with this they decided to break it into 2 rule books now. So we have a rules reference book, and this gives you a reference to all the different things. It looks like it's broken down alphabetically. So end of game, events, equipment, fortress gates, groups, all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting they went this route. I haven't had a chance to dig into this yet, so I'll let you know what I think of this in a later video, as I'm usually not a big fan of companies breaking rule books into 2 sections. But it looks like, let's take a look at the rulebook real quick. It looks like they kept the rulebook as a whole, and then they offer the rules reference to quickly identify or let you jump to certain parts that will cover that, which I'm fine with. That's great. I'm not a big fan of Fantasy Flight where they break them into a rules reference guide and then a quick start book, as I would prefer a full-on complete rulebook. And then if you want to do a reference guide or a quick start guide or anything like that, that's, I find, a lot more handy. But that's my personal preference on that. Okay, so then we have our new sheets for each one of the factions to update them and bring them in line with the new factions. So we have all of our units on one side, and then all of the upgrades and all their effects on the other side. So we have the Grove Tenders, the Bronin faction. There's the Heirs. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their name. And then we have another reference guide. So if you didn't get the additional faction, then you have your new reference guide for your landmarks and market talents and all that outlined on here. And then we also have for the bug faction their new card as well. So if you have them, you get to switch that out. And then they also updated both of the other books. So you have your solo scenarios Cloud Spire book. This is their brand new one. And then the cooperative scenario book as well in here. So, and again, all of this stuff is just swapped out. If you ever get it mixed up, it's also labeled in the bottom corner with the numbers as well. So this is version 2. I thought it was 1.5 for some reason. I must be thinking of a different game. So this is version 2 on all of these, though that is all there. And they also list on that sheet, I believe, that if for some reason you get the tokens and all that mixed up, that you can go to their website and there's a specific section in there that breaks down, and I will probably show all the pictures and all that of all of those new tokens. So if for some reason you do get them mixed up, they have you covered there as well. Well, I hope you found that video helpful. As always, let me know in the comments below what other kind of coverage you'd like to see around this, whether it's a deep dive into each faction, the full teaching video, like I said, I'm still planning on doing, but unfortunately at this point, it's not going to be anytime soon, as there are just a ton of new games coming out, especially right now, that I'm expecting. So it'll be down the road a little bit, but I would love to hear on the interest for that. If that's something that people are still really interested in, I will definitely look at doing that at some point in the future. All right, so as always, thank you so much for leaving feedback and let me know how I'm doing. I really do appreciate it, and I take into account everything you say to make the best possible videos. And until next time, I'll see you later.